for another episode of Hammer and Hummer. This week, we're going to talk about gas prices, but before we start, I just want to say something. I remember when I first came to the Sioux, I was just going to work on my next book. I was keeping a low profile. Someone said, check out Sioux Today. And I remember you'd be on there and you'd be going on about we need a $10 or $11 minimum wage, and people would say, won't Hammertime just shut up about that? And even the NDP were saying, no, we're not responsible for this guy's taking. Year and a half later, the NDP are pushing for this $10 minimum wage. Similarly, gas prices. I mean, I can remember I was hearing the stories. People decided to call in and find out if the NDP was going to do something about gas prices. And, I heard from that apparently it was driving Tony's office nuts. And yet now it seems they've jumped on the bandwagon. How is it that even though you tend to piss off, if I can use that expression, your fellow NDPers, you seem to be a year or two ahead of them?
Because I'm a leader, and a leader leads, and I see things ahead. It's like the great leaders, they have a vision.
Yeah.
Like Tommy C. Douglas had a vision before he came into being. I have a vision because I believe in being progressive,
yeah.
And I believe in positive politics and getting things done. So when you say something, it might take years to get through because governments don't work like overnight, but to work towards it. But when people are naysayers and they just say it can't be done, because my dad taught me one thing in life. He's passed away 9 years this May. He used to tell me there's two things in life that's etched in stone. Yeah. Christmas and New Year's. Everything else is possible. So I say to Mr. Harper, Mr. Big Oil Man and his pals, nationalization of oil and gas, because it'll save money at the pumps and lower consumer prices. And let me finish this point. And especially seniors, they're in a fixed income, and a lot of these seniors are almost on the teeter-totter, losing their home, because if you nationalize, they'll save money on their home heating oil or their natural gas, and they might save $500 to $600. That makes a difference.
But let's forget about the Tories. I mean, a lot of what you're saying, it seems that half your struggle is against the NDP.
You know what? Rome wasn't built in a day, and as social democrats, we have all different beliefs. I agree with what Jack is doing, but it will not solve the problem, because they've had these regulatory boards in New Brunswick. It's all window dressing, but had no teeth. The only solution to it, you nationalize, because in Saudi Arabia, every man, woman, and child gets $55,000 US just off the royalties. And I figured it out, and my friend Ron Shees wrote an article on another site, and he broke it down to $222,000 per man, woman, and child. And that's without the other GDP. So what's wrong with Mr. Harper saying to the
but hold on a sec. Why isn't the NDP backing you? I mean, it's the same thing with the minimum wage. Remember, they didn't back you until the Green Party jumped in.
I'm ahead maybe a year or two. They'll catch up, because it's the right thing to do. Because even Léger did a poll 2 years ago, and 62% of Quebecers would back nationalization of oil. Because you know why people in Quebecers? They're the Tommy Douglas New Democrats of economic justice and social justice, and they understand that.
Yeah, but I mean, we know that Jack has taken the NDP in a different direction. Do you think it's a coincidence that this new direction has seen the NDP fall in the polls?
It's like a teacher. Sometimes you got to teach a lesson to a child maybe 100 times before they get it, and that's just the way it is. So if I have to repeat the message for the light to come on, hey, if that's what it takes for a socialist party to do the right and moral and good policy thing, then I'll continue doing it, because eventually, because people deserve better, and their families, they have children, money in their pockets better in their
But it seems to me, whenever I hear the NDP talk, I mean, the last few months excluded, I noticed that the NDP, they were going down. They were hitting 12%. They were bottoming out in the polls. And it was because they were going on about Afghanistan, they were going on about gay marriage, they were going on about all these issues pertaining to identity politics. And yet, when Jack
start
talking about
Tommy C. Douglas,
about bank fees, about gas, about
corporations, takeover.
They start going up in the polls again.
And you know what? I'll give him credit. Now he's talking like Tommy C. Douglas. Because he was a man of the people, by the people, for the people. And if Jack stays on that course and puts his words into legislation and action, bring it to the House of Commons, because we have a minority government on the nationalization of oil and gas. Bring it up for a vote, up or down. So I say to Mr. Martin, Tony Martin, my good friend, then Mr. NDP, you walk the walk, talk the talk. You talk about seniors all the time, then put your words into action.
Okay, but let's stick to the leader
here. Bring the bill in the House and let it up or down.
Do you think Jack has any credibility on these issues, or do you think the NDP would be better off with someone like Pat Martin or Peter Stauffer or Peter Cornwell, someone who has been identified with social justice?
You know what I think? I think he's talking to people behind the scenes with with a lot of years experience more than him, and I think he's starting to listen. So I would say I would give the man a chance, because he's starting to come around. So I believe in giving people second chances. We'll see from now until the next federal election. If he sticks to the Tommy C. Douglas kind of economics and social justice thing, we'll go up in the polls, because it's the right and moral thing to do to get social justice for everybody. Because if you nationalize oil and gas, it's like government-run insurance. Instead of the oil companies, Esso and Shell, collecting $5-10 billion in the first quarter, that $20 billion can go into our coffers, can pay for education, schooling, dropping taxes, and Esso and Shell will be employees, not employers. And if they don't like it, they can go back to the United States. But you know why they're not going to leave, Pete? Tell me why. I'll tell you why. Because they're making money. So government of the people, by the people, for the people. Not like Mr. Harper's pal, Big Oil. Of the corporations, by the corporations, and for the corporation. No. Government's of the people. So Mr. Harper, if you cannot stand against the exploitation, oppression of Canadian people, and you even said it yourself last week, Canadians got to get used to the gas prices. Guess what, my friend? Seniors vote, and that lady that told Mr. Maroney when he was going to cut their income, their their retirement income, she said, no way, Charlie Brown. And guess what? He backed off. And a lot of seniors vote. And if seniors can save $500 to $600, $700 a month on their oil bill, guess what? They ain't gonna vote for Mr. Harper or the Liberals. And I say to the NDP, bring that to the House. You got a minority, up or down vote. It's that simple. So anyways, Pete, I appreciate you bringing this up, because it's important to people. And I believe in social justice and economic justice, and people have a right for the government to be progressive, positive, and going forward, not backwards.
One last question. Who are the NDP going to run provincially?
Here, I'm not sure yet. You know what I hope? I hope Jeff runs, Mr. Broadbent. He's a very well-spoken person. I know him personally. He's a man of courage, a man of heart, and he's for the people. And I think he would make a good candidate for the New Democrats. And if you're watching this, Jeff, on Sioux Today, when you have a break at work or at home, please consider running for the NDP, because you'll make a good representative. And I think many Siouxites would believe that and would give you support to get you elected in the provincial legislature.